Okay, I think we'll get started. Thank you, folks, for dialing in. Good to see a lot of people dialing in every first Wednesday of the month at noon Eastern Time. I really appreciate all our amazing advocates. As usual, I'm going to start out with some updates, and then we will talk about our lobby efforts and some recent events that have been very energizing, ways for you to get involved, and of course, our big Capitol Hill Day is coming up very soon. So I'm really excited to share updates on that and what the day looks like. So some government updates wanted to share. There's been a lot going on within HHS, and I thought it was important to give you the highlights. So there's been new efforts with this FDA plausible mechanism framework, real-time clinical trials program. They're trying to also reduce the studies that are needed to prove equivalence for brand name biologics. There's the FDA Commissioner's National Priority Review Program to cut down, to streamline. There's the CMS and FDA Regulatory Alignment for Predictable and Immediate Device, which is the RAPID program. People are super excited about that one, just came out. The CMS has paused the Balance program to cover anti-obesity medications, but they're working to extend through Medicare. CMS Access program focused on chronic care management. NIH just is now accepting comments on their strategic plan. We've got NSF. The entire National Science Board has been fired. That also is recent. And then the National Policy Framework for Artificial Intelligence. That's not so recent, but that still impacts a lot of us in the digital health field and women's health. And then Secretary Kennedy had testified. He was on the Hill quite a bit the past couple of weeks for Ways and Means, for Senate Finance, for Senate Help. He's definitely making the rounds and getting lots of questions. The president's budget also came out. He's proposing $1.5 trillion for Department of Defense or Department of War, which is a huge increase. It's always been below $1 trillion. So that's huge. Meanwhile, there's a 10% cut proposed for non-defense discretionary spending, 12.5% cut to Health and Human Services alone. And within that, a $5 billion cut to NIH, an elimination of some of these institutes, almost $400 million cut to ASPR program, which does all the prevention, BARDA-related work for mass casualty response, biosecurity. The new administration for Healthy America, or part of the MAHA effort, is included in this with funding for different programs like the food program, and you can see the rest of the list. Designation of biotechnology as a priority for Department of Energy, which is interesting, connecting the dots there. There's more cuts to CDC, SAMHSA, HRSA, elimination of LIHEAP, which is a heating program, which is really important in the winter. And then the community development block grant would be eliminated as well. And this is just proposal. So right now, the House and Senate are meeting in their appropriations committees to determine what they want to fund. So even if it's the same party, there's always differences in what the president puts out for the budget and then what Congress puts forward for what they fund in their funding bills. So, and last year, significant cuts were proposed, and last year, Congress pushed back and did not include the cuts. They rejected those. So we are now at a phase where our lobbying efforts are super important because we can actually shape what goes into that final version of the appropriation bills. And just as a reminder, there's 12 appropriation bills in the House, 12 in the Senate, and it moves to the House first, then the Senate, and then by the end of the year, they come together in conference committee for each of those 12 bills, and then we have the final version. Usually it's in an omnibus. Sometimes they pass individual bills, but it's some combination of the two. So we're at a good place for our advocacy to make a difference as they're finalizing those efforts throughout the rest of the year. So our big lobbying push, we've done a lot of things, but just to make it simple, these have been the ones that we focused on for appropriations. We also, in addition to all these, we've signed on to letters to increase funding for NIH, for example, We are part of the Friends of the Office of Research on Women's Health. Really appreciate the leadership of Society for Women's Health Research with that. So we've teamed up to push for increased funding for the Office of Research on Women's Health. A lot of other initiatives, but this is the list of what we pushed for appropriations. And so we are now at a point where we can talk about all the submissions. So we did 407 submissions to members of Congress. There are 435 in the House, 100 in the Senate. So we hit a lot of members. My team worked so hard. I'm so thankful of Kylie, Anna Kate, Griffin, Haley, Katie, Aditya, Chris, like so many people on the team helped get all these appropriation forms in. So I really want to thank everyone on my GDG team for that. And so with all those submissions, we have done everything we can during this first part of the appropriations process to shape it. And then the next part is actually getting into those bills that come out. So our progress so far, we actually already have an early win. So the House Agriculture and FDA Committee, or we call Ag FDA, they came out with their bill. Committee's already acted on it. And we had pushed for this new women's health pilot program, and they actually included it. So they include the definition of women's health. They include that sex differences are at the cellular level and should be considered in bringing medical innovations to market. It includes that they value consistently integrating women's health during the FDA review process. And it establishes a women's health pilot where professional expertise in women's biology and innovation is applied to enhance efficiency in approval process, ensure clinical trial design reflects the disease impact across broader population, and accelerate innovations to women. So pretty amazing that we got that in. Thank you for everyone's support. We are going to close out with some letters that y'all can send to help ensure that we get language in the Senate as well. This is the overall slide of where we are as an organization. We always like to include this since we started. So we have got over 3,000 letters to Congress. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've done 5 congressional briefings. Our LinkedIn followers keeps growing, well over 5,000 now. Instagram is growing, so please keep using our handle when you do your posts. We really appreciate that. And then our community keeps growing. We keep doing more and more events. I'm going to talk about some of the events I just came from. We're growing in countries. We can't grow in more states at this point, but we can grow in the number in each state, which is pretty awesome. Our steering committee grows. We've got great company sponsors. So thank you to everyone that's part of this. So I just got back from San Francisco, where we had a weekend of activities. Thank you to Joanna Strober, the founder of McKinsey Health, hosted us in her home. We had a great event that was really focused on steering committee and growing our steering committee. And you can see a nice group picture. All the different speakers were amazing. And then we did a hike on Sunday with the group, and that was really fun. It was a great way to meet people and get to know people better. And so really inspired by the group. Every time we get together, I always feel energized. So I want to thank you all for that, for making that possible. We also just did our New York State House Day, which was our first State House Day. And it was awesome. We actually did a debrief this morning with the team. So we had Assemblywoman Linda Rosenthal here leading a press conference. And several of us spoke at that press conference. We got a great picture in front of the Capitol. We did our own legislative briefing. And Assemblymember Rosenthal took us onto the floor. So that's on the floor. And then those are some of our speakers from the briefing. And it was just a good day to really elevate issues around menopause and why we needed menopause legislation. And the very day that we were there, at the end of the day, they actually passed one of the bills that we were lobbying for. And I think that obviously Assemblymember Rosenthal deserves all the credit for that. But I do think that our team and our consistent outreach we did, thanks to Griffin, many emails to legislators. And I think that continual pounding away at that, postings, all those things help make this happen. So again, I want to thank our advocates, and our advocates are super determined to go back and do another State House Day. Lisa McDonald is there now. Lisa McDonald and Audrey Van Cronin helped organize the day. We're just phenomenal partners, and Audrey's determined to keep going after press coverage. So it was really a great day, and we'll be back doing more. And we're going to work on a model for how to do State House days for other women's health advocates chapters across the country. And then yesterday, I was in North Carolina for our kickoff event. If you are in North Carolina, please join. We have a distinctive website, which is whanc.org. And we've got lots of events and lobbying efforts underway there. In fact, today, Sheila McHale, who is the founder and leader right here of the group, is working with Komen Foundation to do a big day on breast cancer. And we've basically got 20 days to try to push through coverage for supplemental screening legislation. It has passed the House 3 times. It is pending in the Senate, and we're hoping that it can finally maybe get through in the next 20 days. So we're doing a big letter writing push. So we want to make sure if anyone's in North Carolina, please join and help us elevate these issues. But we had a great turnout, super energized. We had some legislators here, physicians, patients, just amazing advocates. So really cool. Oh, and the other thing that was kind of funny about this, so Sheila was talking about how Alabama just passed this coverage for supplemental screening for women with dense breasts. And so she's like, please, North Carolina, can't we catch up to Alabama? And I guess it's now 40 states, depending on, some people say 38, but 40 states that have some version of this. So we really want the rest of the states to catch up. And we're simultaneously continuing to push for our federal Find It Early Act, because until we have it in all 50 states, we still need Find It Early Act. So that is definitely still a big push for we'll talk more about that next week. So our priorities, May 20th, 21st, coming up very quickly. So if you haven't registered yet, you really need to register today, like right now, because when you register, that's how we set up plans for the 2 days, but also your Hill meetings. And so we have to know who you are. And if you're one of those lucky people who has maybe 2 residences, think about the residence that's a little bit different. So like we always have a lot of folks from New York. So if you also have a residence in Connecticut or Florida or somewhere else, maybe use that address. But in any case, we definitely want you to be part of this day. It's a really cool day. It feels very empowering. And you get to bond with other amazing people like you. So highly recommend it. The day before is the Illuminators Navigating the Waters to Advance the Health of Women, which is a pretty awesome event that Timmy Gard deserves tons of credit for. He has led the way. He's been our fearless leader. But a few of us have teamed up to work together to pull this together. So what we are focused on are all those steps that companies need to go through to bring their innovations to market in women's health. So we've got the R&D funding, we've got FDA regulatory pathways, CMS and private insurance coverage, and then market adoption and distribution of innovations and real access. If you don't have access to innovations, it's pointless. So it's going to be phenomenal. We've got amazing speakers. I think it's really worth it to come in on the 20th so you can be part of that. And then the evening of the 20th will be our welcome reception for us and members of Congress. Oh, and here's the schedule. Obviously, I just talked about this, but that's the schedule for the day. So you definitely want to be in the morning. We're going to do a 9 a.m. meetup to do final review of, what's happening for the day, handouts, etc. We'll have, some people will have Hill meetings during this window of time, and then we'll have the congressional briefing. Then we'll do our photo on the steps, more Hill meetings, and then meet up at the end of the day. I've heard from a lot of folks that need to get home, which is fine. So we'll have a more casual meetup at the end of the day. And for all those who are coming to this Hill Day, you should have received a calendar invite, and we'll go through and update it, make sure we have everyone in there. But we are having a planning call, a prep call on May 12th. To go over everything. So we'll go over in much more detail what's going to happen, how to do these Hill meetings, and make sure people feel comfortable and ready to go. And then we also are doing letters. So highlighted in yellow is the most important letter right now because we've got the briefing coming up. So we ask you to please send a letter about asking your member to come to the congressional briefing, the member or their staff. We really want to drive a big turnout. We had a phenomenal turnout last year. Thanks to all of you sending these kinds of letters. It really does make a difference. So please do that. If you're so motivated and have the time, we need you on reimbursement parity. We've got a summary of all our FY 27 requests, and then we've got the Find It Early Act. And it's the same link, just womenshealthadvocates.org, click on Write a Letter, and then you can submit. And then I'm going to pass to Vanessa, who did a phenomenal job organizing these.
Oh, there I am. Sorry. I'm on my iPad. I broke my computer, so I'm like trying to figure out all of my using all of these technologies. I feel very old, Liz. What's happening to us? Um, but anyways, it's great to be here, and I'm super excited. And I just want to double down on what Liz said about sending the letters. Last year we did a fill the seats campaign, and it really made a difference. People sent letters, they posted on social media, they had their friends send letters. Even if you can't be here, everyone can send a letter to say, we want you in that room for that congressional briefing. And seeing that room filled to the brim last year was so like just I mean like there aren't even words for it. It was like inspiring, it was wonderful. It just felt like, oh, people really care about this. So we really want to do that again. We also want people to share that they're going to be there. We want you to share that you're on the steering committee. We want you to share that you're heading to Washington, and we have a couple of different ways that you can do that. You can click these links, and this is going to take you to a template. And in that template, if you're most comfortable sharing a photo, you can just upload your photo, and you can add a little blurb about why you're attending or why you're excited to be on the steering committee. But if you're so inclined and you like to share a video, we'd love for you to do that. Super easy. Uh, Again, just click the link, you video yourself, and then you upload the video and plug it in, and you can share that to social media. And, listen, don't overthink it, right? This is all about just saying, why are you excited about this? Think about it. Think about why this matters to you. I know why it matters to me. It matters to me, number one, because I'm a woman. Number two, because I've experienced what it's like to not have the healthcare options that I deserve when I was diagnosed with cancer the first time prior to the ACA. And I see how far we've come, and I see how far we can go. And so we really want you all to be involved, and this is one way you can do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Vanessa. Very, very cool. All right, real quick. My Vote Our Health. So we had our first one on April 23rd, and it was great. Linda Goler-Blount did an awesome job facilitating. We had amazing speakers, very moving. Chat box was great. Just got really good feedback about it. So I'm so glad people dialed in. I really want to double, triple the number of people dialing in. So please help spread the word about this. We want to make sure people are posting about it. Friends, colleagues, people know this is just a great free way to learn about key issues that are shaping women's health and what does it mean for policy and voting in the upcoming midterm elections. So the next one is June 25th, and we will send more information on it as we are pulling all that together. But the link down here is tiny URL / my vote our health. So please register there. And my amazing colleague Griffin is posting things in the chat box so you can find these links very easily. And then you can become a leader. You can join a committee. We've got all these amazing committees that are happening. And a lot of information is in WhatsApp. We've got regional committees that are now super active, and there's more coming on board. And then you can join the steering committee. If you join the steering committee, you are in the know. You are a decision maker in the direction of the organization. We do events that are just with steering. We do our monthly call that's just with steering. That's always after this call at 12:30 every first Wednesday of the month. There's lots of communications with steering. There's a private on the WhatsApp of just the steering committee. I think it's phenomenal. Folks that come together help me do a better job, inform me, make sure, we're going in the right direction. That's where we get our speakers. That's where we get our ideas. And in fact, all the committees, all those health condition committees, are led by at least one steering committee member. That's the rule. We have to have at least one steering committee member. So I highly recommend it. I think it's a really valuable experience. We also have this executive committee that is being formed. We've got a few people on it. We're building that now. That's a smaller group. And that obviously is all of the above, but additional private meetings, events, positioning, advocacy, teamwork with me and my team. So, and premier promotion on our events and on our website and all of that. So, a great opportunity for you or your company to think about. And join us next Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time for our Breast Cancer Early Detection Coalition monthly call. Want to make sure folks know about that. We focus on our breast cancer advocacy work on those calls. And again, right after that call at 12:30 is the steering committee call. So anyone on steering can join in and be part of that. And again, that's where we do the strategy work. We give much more detailed information on what we're doing. That's where we get our speakers, do all our planning, and we've got some exciting things coming up with breast cancer. And we actually have a special speaker next week who's going to share her story that's very moving, and I think would be very inspiring for folks who are thinking about advocacy, not really sure. I think she'll convince you. All right, I want to do a special thank you to our sponsors, amazing sponsors that keep us going. They're not just generous, they're like all in. They believe in what we're doing. They know that we are needed, that we can make a difference, and then we are making a difference. And so I really appreciate all of our sponsors for 2026. It's just an amazing group of people and companies and nonprofits. So I'm really excited. Final takeaways. Please register for these events. We really want to see you. It's just a couple weeks away, and we just really need everyone registered now. If there are any hotel issues, because the link for the hotel no longer works, that block of rooms. However, we are able to directly email to get that same rate, that special rate and part of that block. So please email info@womenshealthadvocates.org if you need a hotel room. We will make sure that you can get that. And thank you for being a change maker.
I just want to say that we had a question about breast.
We have time for questions, so go ahead.
Yes, we have a couple minutes. So I did see a question about is breast cancer going to be part of what we're focused on at the May 21 event? And I can, say that yes, it always is. And Liz, I'm sure you can expound on that. But one of the things that WHA has always been super proud of is the work that we do in the breast cancer space, and that has been a cornerstone of what we did last year and what we've been doing. And as Liz said, there's a lot coming up, and so the quick answer is yes. I'll let Liz and her team finalize exactly what those asks will be, but yes.
Yeah, definitely. So for our congressional briefing, and we are working on updating our graphic with all the headshots of our speakers. We're super excited. We have amazing speakers for our congressional briefing. And it includes both Hologic and GE Healthcare, who are major leaders in this area and have been advocating with us in all our Hill days. So we absolutely are going to be covering that and the Find It Early Act. And the other thing is when we do these Hill meetings, what I do or my team, we provide you talking points, but it's an and situation. It's not an or. So when you do your Hill meetings, you want to say why you're there. Like, I am here because I lost my mother to breast cancer, for example. You always want to start with why your story, why you're there, and then talk about these are the talking points that we have for today. So it's an and situation. So I want you to always feel like whether it's breast cancer, endometriosis, FDA regulatory pathway, reimbursement, whatever your issue is, please share it. That's what we are facilitating with this Hill Day. So it's definitely a yes. Any other questions?
I think that's the only, I mean, there might have been more questions. I'm sorry if I didn't see them. If you put them in the question box, we can see them. If they go in the chat, there's so many wonderful things happening in the chat. We don't always see the
Oh, Vanessa, real
questions.
quick, do you want to say what happened last night at the chief event, just real
Oh,
quick?
yes.
Yeah.
So we had our first event at the Chief Clubhouse last night. I don't know if those of you that are not familiar, Chief Clubhouse is it's a co-working space and networking um, community that is for senior level women, women in senior level positions across the country. And they have Washington, D.C. and Chicago and a huge space in New York City. And thanks to one of our leaders here, Kara, she actually is a member of Chief and had this idea about doing something for breast cancer simply because she had a friend who was diagnosed with breast cancer and was like, I didn't know about this dense breast issue, and we should know about this. And so we got together some of our amazing leaders, the Brem Foundation and My Density Matters and Dr. Rachel Brem. And we actually partnered with Prevent Cancer, Jody from Prevent Cancer, and did this really wonderful, intimate event last night where we talked about why this matters, and then really why advocacy matters and how you can do it. We're doing another event in Chicago next week on the 13th. So if you live in Chicago, it will be on the 13th, and um, we're in the rumbles of doing a larger event actually at the New York City headquarters. So more news to come on that. But the takeaway here is that you can do these events at your organization. It doesn't just have to be chief. If you want to do an event on menopause at your organization, reach out to us. We can put together an event because we want to be in your organizations too. And this is something everyone can do.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for adding it. And also, I should say, I'm going to Cleveland tonight. We have a Women's Health Advocates event teaming up with OWIG, the Ohio Women in Government Organization, some others. So we've got that in Cleveland. And then we're in Philadelphia on Friday as part of Philly Tech Week. We've got a Women's Health Advocates event. We're teaming up with some others. So lots going on. I'll have more pictures to share, more posts to share at the end of the week. So awesome. Awesome. I see lots more in the chat box. We are at time though, so we're going to have to switch over to our steering committee. Another reason, if you're still feeling thirsty, you're like, I still could talk, I still could do, then join our steering committee because that is where we are going next. So thank you all for being advocates. I hope I get to see you in DC in a couple weeks. And thank you so much again. Bye.